So tonight's game is part of the DePaul Blue Demon Classic. This game, Monday's game against Western Illinois, and then NKU goes to DePaul the day after Thanksgiving. And it looks like both teams have some fuel and a bounce-back ability for this game here.
Absolutely. This is the first time that these two teams have met, Brady. It should be a good game here this evening for a team in NKU that focuses quite a bit on offense. On the other side, for Heath's Eastern Michigan team, all about the fundamentals and defense.
Of course, we were here last Friday when NKU lost in overtime to UNCG. While on that same night, it was the home opener for Eastern Michigan, a double overtime win over Illinois State. Here's Monty Scott firing it up out of the corner, no good, but the rebound is secured and an extra possession. And here's the other Scott, great Scott, Nate Scott, laying it up and in. So we take a look at our starting lineups real quick, Rich. There's NKU, the same five they have started throughout the first three games. San Vincent, Marquez Warwick, Adrian Nelson, David Bam, and Trayvon Faulkner.
Well, I think a huge storyline in this game, 90% of scoring comes from returning players for NKU. On the other side, newcomers for Eastern Michigan. 60% are newcomers in terms of the scoring effort.
Let's take a look at the starters for Eastern Michigan. Nate Scott gets the start today in place of Colin Golson. Then he's joined by Axel Okongo, Monty Scott, his stepbrother or half-brother, however you want to cash it in, Noah Farrakhan, and Darian Spotsville, a starter from last year, will make up the first five that Stan Heath will bring out on the floor for the Eagles. Marquez Warwick drives, now a kick out to David Bam, and off the banking board. This is named after a bank, Rich Heide, and guess what? It's open.
That's the bread and butter for this NKU team, Brady. 12.5 threes per game heading into this contest, and NKU on the board to lead by 3.
So, Rich, as an analyst, you got to tell me, straight up three-pointers off the glass have to be called, correct or not?
That's right. Bank shot.
Here's Farrakhan with it. Now Monty Scott. Down low to Spotsville. He loses control, and Bam comes away with it.
Key to this game for the Eagles, Brady, hitting the glass. This is the team that has done it all season long. NKU averaging over 75 a game. They're expecting to score, and the Eagles are going to have to rebound.
And Bam steps out of bounds after catching the pass, and it's a turnover. And we will head the other way.
Two really experienced coaches, if you look at it. Darren Horn, of course, the associate head coach at Texas under Shaka Smart. He's done a great job so far at NKU. Stan Heath got his first win at his alma mater in Eastern Michigan, coached in the G League, 4 NCAA tournament teams as well.
For 3 different schools, of course. He made a splash in his first year as a head coach, his only year at Kent State. Went to the Elite Eight. We'll talk about that in more detail later on in the broadcast. Here is Monty Scott, and he kisses the window pane.
Bank shot has been clean so far, Brady, in this one.
Quick move down the floor. Here's Nelson with the fall away, short, and David Bam chases it, and he gets to Nelson for the Stuffarino.
NKU rushing up the court right away there, Brady. The tempo game has been strong for the North so far, and then just the effort to finish it off right underneath the hoop.
David Bam played very little in the second half in overtime against UNCG, and he has brought the effort here to stay on the floor in this one as Farrakhan loses it in traffic, and in transition, the layup is up and in by Nelson.
Tempo again, and now the Eagles are going to have to stop the bleeding. NKU playing so fast to begin this game, Brady.
Stan Heath is forced to call a timeout as NKU getting off to a fast start here in transition. And there it is, up and in, and that's the one that forces Stan Heath to regroup with his troops. There you see Darren Horn, the head coach of the Norse, in his 3rd season after stops at his alma mater, Western Kentucky University, and at South Carolina. Of course, you talked about that stop in Texas after a broadcasting stint with the SEC Network, and this is a guy who came out of that broadcasting job reinvigorating, wanted to get back into the game, and wanted to make an impact, and he's doing it here at Northern Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, there you see the overall record, over 200 wins in his career, 65% win percentage, and he obviously has high expectations. Tournaments for this Northern Kentucky squad in 4 of the last 5 seasons and 3 semifinals appearances in straight seasons in the Horizon League.
Of course, the foundation was laid here by John Brannon in the Division I days, as Darren Horn is trying to take it to another level. Here's Spotsville for 3. No good. That was a brick, and it's rebounded by Nelson. Here comes the freshman Vincent. And now Northern Kentucky will slow it down.
Yeah, wide open on that one.
There's a steal, and Spotsville has it knocked away by Vincent, but he'll get it back. Looks like now they'll sit up in the half court. Farrakhan from the corner, got it. Noah Farrakhan, a freshman on the roster, played last year at East Carolina. And he knocks one down to stop the bleeding.
Another guy averaging 17.5 points per game in the early season slate for this Eastern Michigan team.
Both these teams with 1-1 records, playing just their 3rd game, and Stan Heath has got 5 new players coming to the scorer's table.
And 3 ready to check in for EMU. Darian Spotsville, we talked about him. He's the leading returning scorer for this team, just 5 points per game though. That just shows you the wealth of new players on this roster.
Vincent, the long 3 is no good. It goes out of bounds, and it will go to Eastern Michigan. But that will take us to our first media break. Northern Kentucky gets off to a hot start, but Eastern Michigan answers. It's a 2-point game here in the BB&T Arena. Back here at the BB&T Arena, Rich Heide, give us our keys to the game.
For Northern Kentucky, it's all about the 3-pointer, Brady. Obviously, this team entering this game in the likes of some of the top teams in the country, 12.5 threes per game. That ranks 12th in the country. Trayvon Faulkner, huge reason why, Horizon League second teamer. Marquez Warwick as well, Horizon League freshman player of the year a season ago. On the other side, for Eastern Michigan, a team that is very battle-tested so far. They lost by just 6 points to IU, 1 in overtime, double overtime their last time out. And the big reason why is the fundamentals and rebounding, and they have a deficit in that category so far.
5 new players into the game for Eastern Michigan. Bryson Langdon and Chris Brandon, the only changes for Northern Kentucky. Here's Mo Jai, the backup big man, and he throws it right to Trayvon Faulkner. The Norse go the other way. Here's Langdon, the former starter, now coming off the bench, but still logging pretty much the same amount of minutes that he did as a starter. He brings that veteran presence.
He's already shooting 80% on the year, 11 points, 4 assists per game a season ago.
Bam. They're swinging. Here's Vincent. He's wide open. He'll rise and fire and bury it in the bottom of the sack.
That's a great job. The ball movement at the top, just absolutely terrific by Northern Kentucky, swinging around and around.
Vincent has played very well, but the fans always have the angst about something, right? They've always worried, why don't he score like he did in high school? But he's doing things like that.
3-pointer block. They move it quickly again and get another open look, but pass it up.
Bam's open. The closeout by McBride, no good, and Colson gets the rebound. But that's the thing. Sam Vincent's on the floor, not for his scoring. He's out there because of that length, especially at the head of that, don't call it a matchup zone, but it's a matchup zone. Here's the pass inside to McBride. He'll get it back out to Spotsville. He's the only starter out on the floor right now. Colson, no good. And how about Jai and Vincent battling for it? It'll go to Northern Kentucky.
Colson, one of the leading rebounders, transfer from Siena, averaging 7.5 per game. But really, if you look at Heath's squad, he's trying to change the culture of this team. Obviously graduated from Eastern Michigan. This team 6-12 a season ago in the MAC, 3-11 in the conference, and so it is really important for this team to get off to a fast start this season for Heath.
Dan was a long-time college coach, spent the last 4 years in the G League as Trey Robinson checks in the game, and he's rejected at the Summit by Mo Jai, but he's brought some of those principles and mixing it up with his college background here from the NBA. And I think younger players really like that nowadays, a guy that has that NBA background.
I mean, this guy has been one of the top recruiters in the country throughout his tenure across different programs, and you can see it. I mean, all the transfers, Siena, Mizzou, Northwestern College, Temple, Kennesaw State, a lot of these players have played for a lot of different programs, and all Heath had to do was give them a call.
Noah Farrakhan pulls up with a long two-pointer, and he knocks it down. Farrakhan came from East Carolina. Here is Langdon with it for Northern Kentucky. He'll get it across to Brandon. The handoff to Faulkner from the elbow. No good. Battle for the board, and it's the 7-footer Jai. And a long pass down to Spotsville. Farrakhan will step into a three and knock it down. Back-to-back shots made by Noah Farrakhan. And just like that, we are all tied up.
Eagles getting hot from the three-point line. So far, 50% on the night.
There's Langdon with it. He looked inside. Instead, they'll keep it out. Here's a floater by Warwick. No good, but it's Brandon who gets the offensive board and is fouled on the stick-back attempt.
Warwick's certainly a premier scorer in this game. 10 20-point performances last year. Soft touch on the floater, just missed it on the angle. Here you see just a bad angle on the shot, and it clanged off the front iron.
And look at Brandon getting tough down low, and he'll go to the free throw line. Transfer from Detroit Mercy. One of two high-profile transfers within the Horizon League. C.J. Wilburn being the other one. Going from Milwaukee to Wright State. And now here comes Hubie Prevorius. He had that huge debut game against Wheeling, knocking down 5 3-pointers, scoring 19 points. A little bit more of a reality check a second time out, only going 2 minutes and being held scoreless against UNCG. But I mean, that's probably the life of a freshman coming off the bench.
Well, you want to see, obviously, the depth of your roster on display, especially in non-conference matchups. It should be a season in which a lot of teams have the Horizon League. It's a little bit more up for grabs this year. 5 teams receiving first-place votes.
That's a foul on Trey Robinson. And one of those teams not receiving a first-place vote in 6th place is Oakland, and a lot of people think they've got the best talent in the league overall. You look at, you know, from 1 through 7. So it just proves the Horizon League is going to be a very exciting league this year. Of course, Greg Campy brought in a high-profile transfer in Jamal Kane from Marquette, who had a big game last night against Toledo, and a foul is called. And that's going to go against Northern Kentucky. It's Marquez Warwick committing the foul.
Well, let's face it also, Brady, Northern Kentucky should be there. Over 70% of their games they've won over the last 4 years. Just the stability of the program adds a lot for this team.
Turnover, and Northern Kentucky has it on their end now. Here's Warwick. He'll use the screen from Brandon. He goes with a lob down low to Brandon. Can't do anything with it. Here's Robinson working on Colson. Tried to get the pocket pass to Brandon. It'll go out of bounds. It'll stay with Northern Kentucky. There'll be 8 minutes on the timer when we return. But Northern Kentucky with a 1-point lead here at the BB&T Arena. Welcome back to the BB&T Arena. The Norse lead Eastern Michigan 13-12 as you take a look at each of the benches for Northern Kentucky. And what we're trying to set up here, head coach Stan Heath, we talked about him in his first year as a college coach in 2002. He led Kent State to the Elite Eight, and Eric Hout was one of his players as they try to find Eric. That's not Eric Hout, but he is on the staff for Northern Kentucky, and he was a backup guard for Kent State at the time. But that team featured Antonio Gates and Demetric Shaw, a couple of guys who are All-Americans, and of course, Antonio Gates probably going to end up in the NFL Hall of Fame. But they played that Elite Eight game down at Rupp Arena, not far from here, and is traveled there by Monty Scott. There's Eric Hout. Of course, he's the top assistant for Darren Horn. But he was a backup guard on that team, Rich. But after that, those seniors moved on, he became a 2-year starter in the next 2 years, and that's really where he made his hay. But he was a member of one of the best teams in Kent State history.
And Farrakhan trying to rush the floor that time and just went a little too quickly on the setup for the Eagles. But obviously, for NKU to have that experience as a player and now as an assistant coach is very helpful.
Well, Monty Scott just taking it to the rack strong and finishing, and the Eagles just take a 1-point lead.
Yeah, Scott, before playing at Portland State and leading the team with 14 points per game, played at Temple, another very solid program historically.
You know, it used to be a guy that played at 2 and 3 and 4 schools during their time in college. It used to be a big deal, not so much anymore.
Exactly.
Here's Pavorius, no good, and Nelson can't corral the rebound. And now here come the Eagles on the long outlet. Farrakhan to Scott. And now Darren Horn calls timeout. He doesn't want to let this one get out of hand. But that's that brother connection between Farrakhan and Scott, almost thinking on a wavelength together that nobody else can really anticipate.
Yeah, Brady, you look at it, they're both 3 of 4 to start this contest. Farrakhan with 8 points already. Scott has 6. And now you see, just running the lane, Eastern Michigan is starting to heat up for Coach Heath, and up 3 in a game that Northern Kentucky, it seemed like they were setting the pace at home to begin, but the Eagles have stormed back.
Yeah, Farrakhan was kind of the last piece for Eastern Michigan. Of course, as you take a look at Stan Heath, he was coaching in the G League. One of his players was Isaiah Briscoe from New Jersey. He was friends with the father of Monty Scott. And when Noah Farrakhan was looking for a place to land, leaving East Carolina, they said, hey, man, you guys got to take Noah. And Briscoe told Stan Heath, you got to take Noah. And now he's there, and that was the final piece. And I tell you what, this Eastern Michigan team picked to finish 11th in the MAC. I think they're going to be much better than that.
I think so, too. You already play a team in Indiana, historically one of the best programs in college basketball. They only lost by 6 and won in double overtime by 5.
Marquez Warwick lays one up and in, and Marquez has had a tough time here in the early going. Had a pretty good second half in overtime against UNCG, but he's really trying to find that pace he had in that breakout freshman year.
Yeah, and this Northern Kentucky team, not quite battle-tested as of yet, lost by 1 in overtime to UNC Greensboro, so they're looking to right the ship after a big win over Wheeling in game number 1.
Robinson falls to the ground, but he is fouled, and that's why he went to the ground, and it'll be Colson who commits the foul as Axel Akongo will return. He, along with Nate Scott, back in the lineup for Eastern Michigan, as Sam Vincent will bring it up for the Norse, who trail by 1. Here's the kick out.
That win for EMU, Brady, in overtime. This team came back from a 16-point deficit against Illinois State to win that contest.
That's going to be an offensive foul against Sam Vincent. And that'll be a turnover to boot. You're right, that was an impressive comeback. Trailing by as many as 16 late in that first half. It was 12 at halftime. And then a back and forth overtime until finally it was the Eagles who pulled it out at the end of double overtime to come away with a win. And Monty Scott scored 26 of his 28 points after halftime. As after 2 games, 3 guys on their team averaging 17.5 points per game. Obviously a short sample size, but it proves they got multiple options. And on the run out here is Vincent. He throws it up there. Probably should have tried to find some help there. But he was also probably trying to also draw a foul.
Yeah, the pass just not far out in front enough for Vincent to be able to get it and have enough momentum to drive towards the lane. And so the pass really set up the lagging effort for NKU.
Warwick through traffic. He'll go to the line as he was hammered by Okongo. Okongo, one of a pair of 7-footers. As we take a look at the replay here. And he's just going in there in traffic. And I know NKU's toughness at times was questioned against UNCG, and it's pretty clear that that was a point of emphasis in the 6 days that followed that game.
That's right, and you get a chance to win in front of your home faithful, and a team in EMU that has won 75% of its games at home in the last 150, so we'll see if the Eagles can do it on the road, but NKU certainly comfortable playing in BB&T Arena.
Warwick knocks down both the free throws, and now the Norse will show a full court press. So they try to heat up the ball, but Monty Scott gets it across to Nate Scott. And now the Norse will fall back into this matchup zone. Nate Scott from the free throw line. Eagles running out of time here. Just 5 on the timer. Farrakhan Floater in the lane, he rattles it in.
With that right hand, really nice job off balance by Farrakhan. He was fading to his left and laid it up with that right hand. Really, really nicely done. Maintaining tremendous focus that time to get it to go.
The Eagles retake the lead at 18-17. Here's Vincent.
And they're just shooting, quite frankly, more efficiently right now. If you look at it, Brady, 8 of 16 for Eastern Michigan. Northern Kentucky, meanwhile, shooting 35%. They are just 2 of 6 from the three-point line so far. That was one of our keys to watch.
Congo commits the foul, his second, so Jai will check in for him. And for NKU, Bryson Langdon and Chris Brandon will return.
Adrian Nelson so far, the leading scorer with 6 points for NKU. Usually the rebounder for this squad, 10 rebounds per game and all academic in the Horizon League, but he's been scoring to begin this contest.
Yeah, he had 11 boards against UNCG. There's a floater down low. Brandon, did he throw it away? He certainly did. Langdon couldn't save it before it went across the time. In our games here to start the season, Chris Brandon being the latest one in that feature. He's a transfer from Detroit Mercy.
Yeah, Brady, he is certainly aware of what it takes to win in this Horizon League. He also is related to John Lucas, who is an NBA player, a tremendous NBA player and coach, the nephew of John Lucas. And this is a guy that does a lot of the dirty work for your team. 5.9 rebounds per game a season ago. And he also has played in 3 years in the Horizon League already.
Yeah, he was an all-defensive team member in 2020 as Farrakhan knocks one down for Detroit Mercy, playing 3 years for Mike Davis. Of course, with John Lucas being his uncle, that means his cousins are John Lucas Jr., played at Baylor at a high level, and the younger brother, Jay Lucas, who played at Florida and is now an assistant coach at the University of Kentucky. In traffic, Faulkner trying to sneak it into Brandon, and it's knocked away here, and here are the Eagles on the other end. McBride can't get a hand on it, but Jai does, and over the back is going to be called against Nate Scott.
Mo Jai, a big frame, 6'10", 245, just a young freshman out of Centerville, Ohio, but in terms of his length, and this is an EMU team that has been a physical team in terms of rebounding so far in the year, but you have to have a guy like Jai who can be in there with that big size.
Jai's father, Boubacar, played briefly at the University of Cincinnati before transferring to Purdue Fort Wayne back when it was known as IPFW. So there's your local tie there. Centerville only being about 45 minutes or so up Interstate 75. Played for the Elks. As we're back to live action here with the Eagles leading by 3. Here's Scott from the elbow, no good, and bam, will pull off the rebound. Vincent loses control.
Vincent trying to drive baseline, just a little bit ahead of himself, and Vincent just coughs the ball up. And Northern Kentucky, they need more shots in this game. They need to get warmed up, just 33% on the shots so far. EMU close to 50.
That's the 6th turnover committed by Northern Kentucky. 5 for EMU. There's Monty Scott with it. He directs Nate Scott before he passes it to him. Now Farrakhan. Monty Scott, was he on the end? That was a long two-pointer. He was right there at the intersection, and he didn't get that extra point he needed.
Scott, really nice job. Just stops, sets his feet, turns and fires, and he's a high percentage shooter, as we know.
Here's Warwick working on Monty Scott. He'll step back. No good. It was short, and Jai comes off with a rebound. Nate Scott gets it to Monty Scott. Boy, he lost control of that one. Somehow got it to Farrakhan. No good. And Jai was just too big for Chris Brandon. And how about that? Monty Scott might have came down on someone's foot, but it doesn't matter. as he knocks one in, and Northern Kentucky forced to call another timeout. But Monty Scott looked to be limping just a bit after making that shot. Not sure if he landed on someone's foot or not. See if we can catch it on replay here. Now, he didn't land on a foot, but came away a little ginger there.
Scott looks to be all right. He was excited about making that three, that's for sure. But now the largest lead in the game. Remember, all the way back early on, NKU led it 12-7. But now, I mean, it's Jai setting up the offense there, and it's not easy to rebound over a guy like Brandon, but they're able to do it, and now an 8-point advantage for the Eagles.
So Monty Scott with 11 points, Noah Farrakhan with 12. It's pretty easy to add up 23 out of the 25 points for those two guys for Eastern Michigan. So something that Darren Horn has definitely prided himself on is being able to stop the opposing team's best scorer. Make somebody else beat you, and that has not happened so far throughout this one.
And the shot volume, too, if you look at it, Brady, 14 shots already combined between those two, Farrakhan and Scott. The only scorer for Eastern Michigan throughout the rest of this game is Nate Scott with just 2 points. So
and that
really
was the first
shot
basket
volume,
of the game, if you remember.
Yeah, that's right. So it's the shot volume that has been the surprising part, and really, if you're NKU, Coach Horn, he has to key in on those guys for the rest of this game, or it could be a tough effort even here at home for NKU.
So the 8-point advantage for Eastern Michigan is the largest for either team right now. Trey Robinson back in for Northern Kentucky, also Hubie Provorius. Warwick's wide open for three, too strong, but it's Langdon with the long offensive rebound.
NKU just missing from behind the arc, 2 of 7. They need to add that element and that wrinkle to their game throughout the rest of this first half.
Pavorius in traffic. He'll kick out to Warwick. He'll go baseline. Oh, and Brandon with a throwdown attempt. And he'll have to go to the free throw line there. I thought he was going to tear the rim off the backboard.
Yeah, and Warwick with a great job to drive to the baseline and keep his head up, really. And there were players that were contesting it, but he just reached around underneath, got the pass off cleanly, and Brandon fouled on the way up.
He called the foul on Jai. That's his first, and the team's 6. So Northern Kentucky will be shooting the bonus for the rest of the way with 4:49 left to go in this one. As Bryce McBride returns and Farrakhan goes out. As you see, Stan Heath, after his brief time at Kent State, he went to Arkansas, followed by South Florida. A couple of assistant coaching jobs, then he went to the G League, and now he's back here with Eastern Michigan. Down low, Spotsville somehow finds Nate Scott in traffic, and he is fouled. And that'll be Chris Brandon, who's the guilty party. It'll be his first.
You rarely ever see this, but Faulkner so far held scoreless, just 1 shot for him. NKU just not generating offense, and really if you look down at the low block, that is where Eastern Michigan has held the advantage both in terms of rebounding and now getting the ball down there, and they want to go for high percentage looks.
Nate Scott makes the first. Scott on the season is a perfect 4 for 4 at the free throw line. And the announcer's jinx didn't work that time, Rich. And I'm not convinced that's a real thing.
Credit Eastern Michigan and Coach Heath, too, with the schedule that they've put together. Right after this one, they travel to play in East Lansing at Michigan State. That'll be on Saturday, so you have perennial tournament teams, really, if you look at it, between NKU and Michigan State on the schedule for Coach Heath in his first year. Of
course, Stan Heath, a former assistant for Tom Izzo, who was an assistant during a stretch where they went to 3 straight Final Fours, including the 2000 championship with Mateen Cleaves as the point guard. They beat the University of Florida. And that one is intercepted there by the Norse. Here comes Warwick. He doesn't have numbers, and he gets rejected by Spotsville.
Yeah, you have to look up a little bit faster if you're Trey Robinson. He had the ball and looked up a little bit late.
Down low, a new player in the game, Youssef Jihad. who has not played yet this season, getting his first appearance. And he will go to the free throw line when we come back. Final media break of the first half. And Eastern Michigan holding a 9-point lead. Welcome back to the BB&T Arena. We've talked a lot about Monty Scott, but it's actually been his stepbrother, Noah Farrakhan, who's led the Eagles in scoring.
Yeah, EMU just lighting up Northern Kentucky. They've been so efficient shooting-wise, 11 of 22 in the contest so far, 3 of 5 from the three-point line. And as you mentioned, Brady, it's been all about Farrakhan and Scott. Farrakhan 5 of 8 from the field, 12 points already, and Scott 5 of 6, just an efficient start to this night, and of course a lot of basketball left to be played.
It was a non-shooting foul against Jihad, and it'll be the last non-shooting foul of the half. Each team with 6. We'll go to the bonus from here on out, and Jihad can't knock down the shot after all. Here's Vincent, he'll run the point. Little weave action. I see Coach Shields over there. He's got a smile on his face underneath that mask, I know. As that goes out of bounds, it'll stay with the Norse. It's David Bam will check in for Trey Robinson. Also, Jai returns and Jihad goes out.
Jihad, another big body, 6'8", 220, redshirt freshman, a transfer from Oakland, along with the Congo, a 7-footer senior, and we've seen a couple other big bodies as well already on display for EMU.
Down low, and it's blocked, rejected, and the shot clock will expire as Nate Scott swipes that one away from David Bam.
Nate Scott, a transfer from Northern Illinois, a senior, and doing a nice job just closing out and fighting until the whistle to draw the shot clock violation.
Reached the 3-minute mark here. Northern Kentucky needs to get a stop and stack up a couple of buckets on the offensive end, but EMU has really held it down on both sides of the floor. There's Vincent with a block, but Farrakhan gets it back. In traffic is Jai.
Wow, oh my, that was just a terrific look. Double team, and somehow the ball got through both defenders.
And a stick back for Nelson. And Farrakhan is down, and they will blow it dead as he took a spill. I think he's going to be okay. That's just one he might have to walk off. So Monty Scott will come in for him.
This is Northern Kentucky's game, setting the tempo. Vincent, the local player from Fort Thomas, Highlands High School. But there you saw that time he was finally driving in transition and rushing up the floor quickly, and Northern Kentucky needs to set the tempo more in this game.
Vincent won a state championship for Highlands. His head coach was Kevin Listerman, a former Northern Kentucky player.
Toughness.
And how about Bryce McBride? He says, talk about me.
Community college player, and you can just see he maintains control the entire time on the dribble drive, beats Vincent to the bucket, and then gets pushed off of his lane. He took a great angle directly into the hoop, but got pushed away and somehow still maintained the focus at the net to finish. Great work.
High-level junior college and NAIA is grown man basketball, and Bryce McBride just proved why. Northern Kentucky trails by 11. Here is Faulkner. He's been quiet offensively, and he'll remain quiet as Nelson with another stick back.
Northern Kentucky needs a score in a hurry. Their last lead came with 8 minutes, 32 seconds in this first half, and they now trail by 9, and they have to catch up before the end of this.
Spotsville has it knocked away by Faulkner. Here come the Norse in transition. Warwick, and it's blocked by Scott. And here come the Eagles on the other end, and it's blocked by Bam. But that's going to be called goaltending. But it has been a block party on these last 2 trips. But Nate Scott starts it off.
7 blocks combined by these 2 teams, and you see on the defense just a great effort, and now a steal, and Scott, with nobody behind him, scores easily.
Right now, Northern Kentucky can't do anything right. as we approach the 1 minute mark. They're behind 35-22, and it's been all about the defensive tenacity of Eastern Michigan. Warwick has it knocked away as NKU is trying to get downhill, get in the paint, and finish. And Eastern Michigan just is not allowing it to happen.
Yeah, Brady, if you look at it, the key storylines for EMU's lead, 9-2 in terms of fast break points, and then also points in the paint, 18-12, also 13-7 in points off of turnover.
And that's just an unforced error. Nelson tries to hand it off to Work before he's back in bounds. And, you know, Eastern Michigan is completely flustered Northern Kentucky here in this first half.
Mistakes have certainly compounded so far in this first half, Brady, and it's something that Northern Kentucky has to correct, and they're probably grateful to be heading into the locker room here with less than a minute to go, and they have to change things up.
Well, they got a chance to go in there with a little bit of momentum. They can get a stop and a bucket, and Jai is pushed out of bounds by Nelson.
Tough call. Foul called on Northern Kentucky. It looked like momentum was driving him out of bounds without any type of push, and it was pretty soft. See if we can see it again.
Send shot in the line. Here we go.
Ball comes down. Just a slight
all
bump.
it takes is that bump. And when Nelson wasn't even guarding him face up, that probably was another piece of evidence against him. They probably play on the next level, but we're not quite there yet. As Jai back irons the front end of the 1-and-1. And here comes Northern Kentucky, Vincent. He gets it down low! And another two-hand hammer stufferino by Adrian Nelson.
Awesome find by Vincent, has a few points, and you have to be impressed with the way that he runs the floor. It's all about effort for Vincent, the young freshman.
Very unselfish, almost to a fault there, as Nelson with 12 first-half points, half of Northern Kentucky's production. And now it looks like Eastern Michigan will be satisfied with going for a final shot here. 4 seconds separate the game clock and the timer, and that one's missed badly thanks to Faulkner's closeout. Here's Langdon at the logo, no good. The rebound dunk will not count. But Eastern Michigan makes a statement in the first 20 minutes. They came out to a rough start against Illinois State, and they have fixed that here tonight as they lead Northern Kentucky by 11 on its own floor. We'll be back with some halftime programming after these messages on ESPN+. Welcome back to the BB&T Arena. Halftime for the DePaul Blue Demon Classic between NKU and Eastern Michigan, and the Norse find themselves trailing by 11 to the Eagles from EMU. Fans, let's take a look around the Horizon League as Oakland enters the weekend at 2-1 on the season after dropping the season opener against West Virginia. The Golden Grizzlies bounce back with a road win over a Power 5 opponent, Oklahoma State. Out of the Big 12, they defeated the Cowboys 56-55. This was Oakland's first win over a Power 5 squad since 2017 when they defeated Clemson in the NIT. Last night, Oakland made it 2 in a row with a very impressive 80-59 win at home in the arena against Toledo. Tomorrow night, the Golden Grizzly travel to Tuscaloosa to challenge the Crimson Tide of Alabama. Greg Campy and his Golden Grizzlies are currently ranked 25th in the collegeinsider.com mid-major top 25 poll. 4 players from the Horizon League are on the Lou Henson Award watch list. The Lou Henson Award is given to the most outstanding mid-major men's college basketball player in Division I. Making the list from the Horizon League are Milwaukee's Patrick Baldwin Jr., Detroit Mercy's Antoine Davis, Wright State's Tanner Holden, and Oakland's Jalen Moore. In addition to the Lou Henson Award, freshman forward Patrick Baldwin Jr. was named to the watch list for the 2022 Jersey Mike's Naismith Trophy, the Julius Erving Small Forward of the Year Award, and the Lute Olson National Player of the Year Award. After the first 2 games of his college career, Baldwin is averaging a double-double with 20 points and 10.5 rebounds per game. Tonight, Baldwin and the Milwaukee Panthers travel to Gainesville, Florida for a big one against the number 24 nationally ranked Florida Gators. That's what's happening around the Horizon League. For more news and notes, log on to horizonleague.com. We'll have more from the BB&T Arena coming up after these messages. Welcome back to the BB&T Arena. We're at halftime. Eastern Michigan leads Northern Kentucky 35-24 here at the half. Brady Labor rejoined by Rich Heide, filling in for the Xavier sharpshooter Brad Redford. Rich, in the previous segment, we talked about that big win by Oakland over Oklahoma State, but there have been plenty other wins that have been of note for Horizon League teams here in the first couple weeks of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look last year, Cleveland State, Brady, and also Wright State finished the conference 16-4 a season ago. Northern Kentucky finishing 4th, and so far those two teams have not played all that well. Cleveland State, Wright State 1-2 so far. Purdue Fort Wayne, the lone unbeaten team in this conference, and the non-conference action really just sets the tone for the Horizon League action, and there have been some tough contests. You see UIC over Valpo 74-70 in overtime, and we know the Horizon League will be even more tough as we enter that later on.
Of course, Youngstown State going with a new point guard, Tevin Ollison, a transfer from NAIA, the University of the Cumberlands. He scored 27 in that game against SEMU. Purdue Fort Wayne, a lot of people weren't sure how successful they would be in this league starting out, but they got a big win against Austin Peay. And Jared Godfrey is a fantastic player, and I think the Mastodons will be much improved. But what everybody talks about in that UIC win against Valpo is Valpo being a former Horizon League member, moving to the Missouri Valley Conference, and a lot of folks are kind of saying, hey, Valpo, maybe you wanted to stick around here instead of look for greener pastures, as the Flames showed the Crusaders there a couple nights ago with that overtime win.
Yeah, Brady, I mean, it's from top to bottom very competitive in this league. 8 teams already with a win, 3 with 2 wins in the Horizon League to date in 2021.
All right, we'll be back with more halftime programming, including first half stats, when we come back on ESPN+. Welcome back to the BB&T Arena. We are getting ready for second half action with Eastern Michigan leading Northern Kentucky by a score of 35-24. Brady Labor joined by Rich Heide. He's filling in for the Xavier sharpshooter Brad Redford. And tell you what, not much sharpshooting for Northern Kentucky in that first half.
No, the story of this contest so far, Brady, it's been all about efficiency. You look at it, over 50% shooting-wise so far in this one for Eastern Michigan. We've talked about it. Monty Scott, Noah Farrakhan, they are related, so the bloodline really working for EMU. Meanwhile, on the other side, Trayvon Faulkner has just been absolutely neutralized by EMU. And Faulkner so far with just 2 shots. They have to get him involved. Northern Kentucky does. A team just shooting 30% in that first half. 2 made 3-pointers. This is a team, remember, that averages over 12 on the season.
Northern Kentucky also losing the advantage to the points in the paint. And that's with Adrian Nelson scoring 12 of the 24 points. And, you know, I like Adrian Nelson a lot, but if he's going to score 50% of the team's output, Northern Kentucky's not going to win very many games.
Yeah, his calling card, Brady, has been the rebounding all year. And you're right, for NKU, early in the first half, they set the tone. They led by 5 early on in the first 5 minutes of the contest, but EMU came storming back. We've seen 4 lead changes, but an EMU 9-point scoring run led the way, and their biggest lead was 13, and they now lead by 11. All about momentum for this Eagle squad, Brady.
So 12 points and 6 rebounds for Nelson. David Bam with a nice bounce back from his performance against UNCG. 5 rebounds, but he's only scored 3 points. So Northern Kentucky has got to figure out a way to score against this EMU defense that's been suffocating here and get stops on the other end, because the Eagles are shooting over 50%.
Yeah, 100%. And then even you look from top to bottom at the scoring lines, Warwick, how about him? 1 of 9 from the floor. He does have 4 points, but just the shot efficiency hasn't been there from your 2 primary point generators in Warwick and Faulkner.
So Northern Kentucky will have the ball first, and Hubie Provorius will get the second half start in place of Marquez Warwick. So So Darren Horn trying to push some buttons here. Here is Faulkner down low, and they call his name first, and he gets his first bucket of the night. So a different look here for Northern Kentucky. Farrakhan is fouled by Vinson. But that's that length on the front end of that offense that Vinson provides, which has gotten him into that starting lineup.
Yeah, Vinson now with a few fouls as well, 3 of them. And once again, he is kind of your effort player and does a lot of the intangible things quite well for this team out there on the floor, but draws the foul that time again.
So Farrakhan will shoot the free throw and make it, and now it'll be Langdon back in place of Vinson, who finds himself in early foul trouble. But not a whole lot of drop-off when it comes to Langdon. Of course, he's not very tall, but he's a guy that's won a lot of games for you in the last 2 years. So I wouldn't think the drop-off is that much.
Yeah, double figures last year in terms of points. Also a good passer, 4 assists per game a season ago. A guy who is efficient shooting-wise, but I like what Coach Horn did, setting the tone and going right to Faulkner, who has over 1,000 points in his career right out of the break.
Here he is again, no good, and it's Nate Scott grabbing the rebound. Farrakhan. He's going to play off the ball this time. Here's Spotsville with it. Back to Farrakhan. Now it's a Congo, and Bam reaches in to try to take it away, and it's a jump ball. So David Bam, who basically couldn't play against UNCG because they had bullied him a little bit, boy, he has definitely bounced back with some toughness tonight.
That's right, and next time we get a tie-up, it'll go Northern Kentucky's way, so those active hands lead to some positive situations and results for NKU.
Scott runs into traffic, and the contact is made, and it's just a matter of who they call it against. It will be Faulkner being the guilty party, and that's 2 on Trayvon.
NKU leading in rebounds in the first half. That's a positive sign. 8 offensive rebounds as well. They turned it over 9 times, though, so they want to correct that. More turnovers than EMU.
There's a Congo, the 7-footer, gets it to Spotsville. He drives into the logo area, misses, and Nelson pulls down the board, and Langdon will try to push the pace.
Spotsville, the veteran, was on this team scoring-wise last year.
And how about Nelson? The trailer on the break. Langdon finds him, and the big man finishes.
Fans are getting involved now. They sense momentum shifting.
Spotsville with that's Farrakhan, pardon me, from the short corner. And for now, EMU will quiet the crowd. Faulkner gets it. Spotsville hits the deck, no call. Here's Bam, he has it knocked away. Little too much dribbling. And now here's that jump ball you were talking about, Rich. It'll go to the Norse.
This Blue Demon Classic, very important for this team to get off to a good start in this tournament. You have Eastern Michigan and then Western Illinois on Monday before facing a Big East foe and the likes of a very good conference in DePaul.
Of course, they are in the Big East, and Northern Kentucky has been looking for many years to try to check it off on the list, getting a win against a Power 5 school. It's pretty much what the fan base feels like is the next step. As Faulkner misses and Farrakhan gets the rebound, but right now they got their hands full of the team from the MAC.
That's right, yeah, and a couple of unbeaten teams in the MAC, including Miami, and the competition will be strong for EMU throughout the season as well.
Nelson, a lot of contact, no call, but let's see the replay here as he challenges the shot.
Great find by Scott.
And Nelson rejects it. He'll get credited for the block, but the Eagles maintain possession. Here's Spotsville. Farrakhan in traffic, and looks like they're going to get Bam with that foul. And right now, EMU is driving right in the middle of that matchup zone and challenging Northern Kentucky in its own game.
Yeah, Bam has been active so far, obviously keeping his hands up. The block certainly in play. Bam, 6'9" forward, a sophomore from the Czech Republic.
That one is deflected out of bounds, and now Stan Heath wants to get Okongo back in the game to try to inbound that ball. They'll get Jai out of there. No, actually, it will be Farrakhan who continues to attempt to inbound it, this time in front of his own bench. I think that was trying to be inbounded to Jai. Instead, they'll go to Scott.
Okongo played college basketball at Missouri, the lone 7-footer on either roster, a native of France. Played 8 minutes per game last year.
Scott rattles the iron, no good, and Okongo knocks it out of bounds. Northern Kentucky has a pair of 7-footers, Rich, but probably neither one are expected to play. Of course, Noah Hoopman, who was a walk-on from Covington Catholic, he played a little bit last year in spot duty. And then the I-Man, Emmanuel Zorgval, is pretty much going to be held out as a redshirt. He is a guy who they deem as a project, but they really have high hopes for him further down the line as Nelson finishes.
Nelson has been just so dependable for this Northern Kentucky team throughout the game. Has missed just one shot, 7 of 8 now from the floor.
A lob to Nate Scott. He'll pull it out. Now it's Farrakhan, too strong, and Bam grabs the board. Hubie is wide open, and he'll play a little string music from the side, and that will force a timeout. So Northern Kentucky showing just 1 point shy of a career high with 16 points.
He's done it all, 16 points, 7 boards, 3 offensive rebounds as well, and a couple of blocks for Adrian Nelson, the enforcer down low in the paint for NKU. A Northern Kentucky team that has jolted this crowd with some energy, now down just 6 halftime adjustments in play. And the double-double watch also in play for Adrian Nelson, Brady.
He had 6 last season for NKU, 13 double-digit rebounding games also last year for the senior from Pickerington, Ohio.
How about Pavorius too, Brady, just pulling up from deep off the bench with that 3.
And McBride quiets the crowd with a 3-pointer of his own. Here's Langdon with it on the left side. He's looking for help. He pulled up that dribble thinking he was going to get it to Brandon. Now Warwick, who's back in, takes over.
Yeah, he had an isolation, but just picked up that dribble.
Langdon gets it back. He'll drive baseline, loses control, chases it down. Now it's Bam with 1 on the timer, off the wrong foot, and the offensive board goes to the Norse thanks to Warwick. Bam! And he's fouled.
Bam doing a great job that time, just sticking with it. He didn't take himself out of the play. Rushed back in, collected the pass, and got the foul.
That'll take us to our media break. Northern Kentucky trailing Eastern Michigan. Welcome back to the BB&T Arena. And Rich Heide, let's recap your keys to the game.
Yeah, you look at it, Brady, and I hate to make it so simple, but right now, Eastern Michigan, the Eagles just out shooting Northern Kentucky. They've shot the ball much better, over 50%, but the toughness category has been on display more for Northern Kentucky, especially as we start half number 2. More rebounds, more steals, more blocks. 6 steals, 5 blocks for NKU, so they are certainly turning it around after a tough overtime loss.
Never apologize for making it too easy, because I think it gets complicated for no good reason sometimes.
That's right. That's right. Sometimes the shots fall, sometimes they don't. So far tonight they haven't fallen, but Northern Kentucky was down 16, and they've narrowed that deficit.
So David Bam at the free throw line as Farrakhan checks back in between free throws. And Monty Scott will go out. And Bam knocks them both down. So David Bam, the sophomore out of the Czech Republic. Northern Kentucky need to pile up some stops here as they trail by 8. Golson's back in the game. He throws a cross-court pass. It's McBride over to Spotsville. Golson gets it back. He is in traffic, and he goes too far down. He was underneath the rim, and now here come the Norse. Langdon doesn't have numbers, so he circles it back out, Pavorius had it blocked by McBride, but it's Brandon on the second effort.
Just one dribble, then he goes straight up. Brandon with the momentum fades back a little bit, but keeps his eye on the hoop and converts.
So Northern Kentucky converts off of essentially a turnover, maybe not officially in the book for Eastern Michigan, as McBride has the top of the key.
Pavorius active on defense. Remember, he hit that key three-pointer as well.
Langdon comes away with the ball, and he gets it to Warwick. But Eastern Michigan does a good job of getting back in transition. So it's Warwick with a spin move, no good. And Spotsville comes away with a rebound, and Northern Kentucky probably could have gotten a better look that time.
Yeah, beautiful crossover by Warwick, but he wanted to do it all himself and didn't get a great look on the shot.
Farrakhan shoots an air ball, and he's hearing it now from the student section. And now Monty Scott will return, and Spotsville comes out.
Warwick has to be the guy again this year. Freshman All-American team, Horizon League Freshman of the Year, All Horizon League third team. Certainly decorated as a very young player. The second year maybe a little bit harder because there's more expectations for you.
Vincent back in the game with those 3 fouls. Bam, looked like some contact. And now on the loose ball, the foul will go against McBride as he and Vincent got tangled up going after that long rebound. So David Bam was trying to sell that foul to the officials, and they were not buying. So Vincent will trigger it and get it back from Brandon. The
Great spin
move, and he is hammered by Okongo. Coach Heath is saying he walled up, but not the case. Let's see it on the replay.
Vincent, nice drive, clear foul right on the hand, and that was
the opposite of walling up. So a foul for Vincent, and he will go to the line with 3 points. And he hits the first one. Vincent has not been like hunting his offense. And that has been a good thing so far because everything else has come to him relatively easy.
Yeah, for Vincent, he has played a nice game, and the scoring distribution, other than Nelson, he's tied for second on the team in points. The second leading scorer with just 4.
On the missed free throw, Brandon gets the offensive board, and he is fouled. So the foul's starting to pile up here for Eastern Michigan, and now Chris Brandon goes to the line.
NKU already with 10 free throw attempts, 6 of 10 so far. Good to see the hustle play, offensive board, and going straight back to the line to try to get more points and narrow this deficit again.
Brandon out of Houston, Texas, makes the first one as Nate Scott returns, and Okongo will go out. Brandon averaging 5 points, 5 rebounds, knocks it down. As Northern Kentucky has trimmed the lead down to 1 possession, and the crowd starting to make some noise.
It's the loudest we have seen the crowd this evening, now down just 3 points. NKU led to begin this one, looking for maybe a little bit of a walk, but NKU creates the turnover anyway.
Farrakhan coughs it up, and here's Hubie! Almost rattled in, and Golson gets the rebound. If that shot would have fallen there, Rich, that'd have been incredible.
Pavorius has been open from behind the arc a couple of times, and it seems like the defense just forgets about him, and Pavorius catching them napping again, and the ball just rattles out, in and out.
Here is Farrakhan. The pull-up from the elbow, no good. And loose ball that Brandon comes away with, and here come the Norse in transition. Vincent trying to corral it. Now it's Langdon. Vincent's wide open. He'll dial it up and bury it in the bottom of the sack. And we're all tied up at 42.
Vincent just so fired up. The pick and roll set up the opening for Vincent. The defense followed the roll. Vincent all alone, Brady.
Already a career high 7 points for the freshman out of Highlands High School. Here is Golson. passes out of a double team. McBride in traffic, and he'll quiet the crowd. Bryce McBride, and now Langdon just drives his car right down Broadway.
NKU playing much faster, much more energetic, doing a great job. McBride with 7 points as well, right behind Scott and Farrakhan with 15 points and 16 points respectively, but NKU has tightened up on those two.
Farrakhan gets it over to Monty Scott. Over top of Brandon, and it kisses off the glass.
These two teams really heating up offensively, trading buckets the last few possessions.
EMU retakes the lead by 2. Here's Brandon to Pavorius. He fakes. Now he'll drive with a floater, no good, and McBride gets the rebound.
Pavorius wide open after the dribble drive, and a good move electing not to take the three-point shot. You know he wanted it, but pump faked and drove to set himself up.
Scott gets cut off on the baseline. McBride finds Golson. He tries to shoot over 3 guys, and McBride, it's an inadvertent elbow, but it is an offensive foul. So McBride gets the offensive foul. They'll more than likely go to the monitor during the break to check to see if it's flagrant or not. But we will toss it to a break. Northern Kentucky on a run, but trailing by 2. Welcome back, fans, as the officiating crew are going to go back to the monitor again, it looks like, as they want to see if this foul here, which was called a common foul on the floor, whether or not it's a flagrant because of the contact above the shoulders, Rich. And, you know, I just think that's a good basketball play if you ask me.
Yeah, Bryce McBride just nipped Vince in there with that elbow, and it certainly wasn't intentional, and it looked like it did clip Vincent, and he fell to the floor. But for Northern Kentucky, they've been much more scrappy throughout this second half, and you look at it, 16-7, NKU has an advantage in second chance points, and they've gone on a 9-0 run also in this second half. So Northern Kentucky, they've outscored the Eagles by 9, and that has narrowed this deficit to just 2 points. And this is exactly where NKU wants to be in this point of the game after trailing by double figures after 1.
What my experience is, if it takes this long to try to find something, you're trying to find something, and you should probably stick with the original call, which was a common foul. And they are going to send Vincent to the line for, I guess, an intentional foul because he's up there by himself. So it's an F1 flagrant foul. So good news for Northern Kentucky fans, as Vincent makes the first free throw. And if he can make this one, we'll have a tie score, and NKU have the ball. And again, the announcer's jinx doesn't happen for a second time, Rich. 5
ties, 4 lead changes. We're back knotted up, Brady, and for McBride, that's foul number 3, third leading scorer once again for Eastern Michigan, and it's a huge swing coming out of the timeout too, because as you mentioned, NKU retains possession.
Here's Vincent with it after making those 2 free throws. He'll drive to the rack. He attacks but can't finish. Monty Scott met him at the summit. And now here is Spotsville with it. So Northern Kentucky couldn't take advantage of the extra possession. Here's Scott from the logo, knocks it down.
Approaching the 20-point mark. Scott with 19 already and 3 assists as well. It just looks effortless out there on the floor for Scott.
Here's Langdon looking for Vincent. Vincent finally gets it from Langdon. Now the freshman looking to operate. Langdon pump fakes. He'll find Vincent for the 3.
Oh,
Got
wow.
it! Sam Vincent reaches double figures for the first time in his career. And Northern Kentucky takes the 1-point lead.
Just tremendous poise by the young freshman, Brady. And you think about it, he's had the ball in his hands quite a bit throughout this contest. It seems like the ball just goes to him more times than not. Really a centerpiece in this game offensively for NKU.
And I think there's a little less pressure on him when Langdon's in the game with him. Let Langdon run the show as Nate Scott quiets the crowd with a three-pointer of his own. And Eastern Michigan has had an answer every time Northern Kentucky has creeped into the lead.
Scott now with 7 points himself. Nate Scott now on the board with that three.
Here's Langdon into the painted area. Went down a little too deep, and the little guy figures out a way.
Langdon drawing contact, maybe thought it was an and one opportunity, but Northern Kentucky answering after the Eagles continue to score. They've done it all night long, still scoring at a very impressive clip, 21 of 43 from the floor.
Here's Farrakhan with it as Jake Evans into the game for Northern Kentucky, a walk-on in his second year out of Louisville, Kentucky, and he played a couple of good trips on defense. He'll now go out, and Hubie Prevorius will come back in.
And in an off night shooting-wise, when NKU shooting just 37% from the floor, just 5 made three-pointers, you need guys like Vincent, who normally wouldn't be the leading scorer on a team. Nelson, of course, leading the way here this evening. It's been Vincent and Nelson.
And now they call an offensive foul against Sam Vincent. They're saying he cleared some space, and the crowd cascades the arena with boos. Let's see it on the replay.
Vincent in shock, his mouth wide open. It looked like the feet were set pretty nicely there by Farrakhan.
Well, the chicken wing was not extended. And that's what most fans were looking for there, but Darren Horn gets an explanation he's not exactly happy with, but he'll move on. For Vincent, that's foul number 4, by the way. Out of the corner, Spotsville, no good. Nate Scott was tied up with Langdon, and they're going to call it on Bryson.
Credit the effort by Langdon, quite a bit shorter, and it looked like their number 25, Scott, kind of hooked him, but it'll stay in the possession of Eastern.
We talked about Adrian Nelson needing help on the scoring ledger. We didn't think we'd see it out of Sam Vincent.
Yeah, Vincent really providing a great scoring push for Northern Kentucky all evening, and he certainly is not intimidated by a moment like this, playing college basketball for the first time this season. He was the 2021 Gatorade Kentucky Player of the Year, averaged 22 points per game throughout his career. Right on nearby in Fort Thomas, Kentucky, Brady.
We talked about him winning the state championship, was the MVP of the Sweet 16, and his head coach, Kevin Listman, played here at Northern Kentucky on back-to-back national runner-up teams as Monty Scott quiets the crowd again. And the Eagles retake the lead at 53-51.
NKU has already surpassed their point total from the first half, 27 in the second half, 24 in the first.
Here's Langdon with it now. He tries to play a little big man, little man game, and Nelson couldn't handle it as it was coming in hot. As Nelson and Robinson will go out, Bam and Brandon return.
Nelson excited about that opportunity, had a great look at the basket, just forgot to take the ball with him.
See if Eastern Michigan can take advantage as they lead by 2. Here's McBride with a little jab step and a pass down low. And Nate Scott can't convert, but it'll go to the free throw line.
Yeah, that time for NKU, it looked like Brandon just left his feet, and that gave EMU the advantage.
So Scott will go to the free throw line. Fans, tonight's production is crewed entirely by Northern Kentucky University students. They gain hands-on valuable experience that'll benefit them as they enter the job market. For more information on the electronic media broadcasting major and the many other degree programs offered by Northern Kentucky University, log on to the website nku.edu. Northern Kentucky University, success by design. Scott makes them both, and it's now a 2-possession lead for Eastern Michigan. Here's Langdon. He'll kick it out to Bam, who penetrates, he spins, and he finishes.
The bench has really come on strong for NKU throughout this performance. NKU has trailed for most of this contest. EMU has led for 21 minutes of this game, but the Norse still find themselves down just 2 points at this moment late in the second half.
Langdon comes out of there after McBride takes it too deep. Bam! Steps into a 3, no good, and it's rebounded by Jihad.
Bam just squared up, had a great look directly at the top of the court at that 3-point opportunity.
Scott gets it into Nate Scott. Down low, and he just bullies his way through Bam for the bucket.
Tough finish, drew contact, and did a nice job maintaining composure to be able to finish, and that's a great job scoring, even with all of that physicality and contact down low in the paint.
There's Langdon. Now Faulkner. Bam, and that's an offensive foul.
Bam pushed off just ever so slightly, and the official caught it, and that leads to basically the same result as a turnover.
And Bam, see that when you extend that arm, they're going to call that automatically. On the Vincent play, that didn't happen as much as that one did. That was a pretty easy one to call there, Rich.
Yeah, every time with that right elbow, just extending it, and an easy call.
And then Spotsville buries one out of the corner, and Eastern Michigan extends it to a 7-point advantage, and Northern Kentucky needs to get a bucket here badly. Brandon drives over Jihad. He'll get the hoop and the arm.
Chris Brandon, you know NKU is excited to get a veteran from the Horizon League, but showing the athleticism there in isolation one-on-one, just crosses immediately to that right hand and finishes with the right off the glass. Very smooth, very athletic by Brandon, and he gets an opportunity to even it with a 3-point play after the 3-pointer on the last possession by the Eagles.
Okongo will return, and Jihad will go out for the Eagles as Chris Brandon looking for point number 9 of the night. Yeah, that's a season high already, and he back irons that one, but Faulkner gets the rebound, and Northern Kentucky gets a free possession. Vincent back in the game with those 4 fouls. Here's Pivorius on the shot fake with the long 2-pointer. Well,
NKU throughout this contest, Brady, has more than doubled up the offensive rebounds when compared to Eastern Michigan, 13-6 in that category. That's the toughness that we wanted to see on display for the Norse tonight.
It's a 1-possession game once again, and trying to split that double team, and Trey Robinson will commit the foul. Just the second on Robinson. Better he than Vincent, because he would have been disqualified with his 5th foul, and that will send McBride to the free throw line for a 1+1. 18 fouls.
Between Faulkner and Warwick, you're just 2 for 15 scoring-wise. Warwick 1 for 10, Faulkner 1 for 5. They have not been key players scoring-wise for NKU this evening. It's been Vincent, Nelson, and Brandon.
ESPN's coverage of Horizon League basketball continues Monday when NKU hosts Western Illinois. Tip-off scheduled for 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You can see it all live right here on ESPN Plus, the continuation of the DePaul Blue Demon Classic. Here's Vincent going baseline. Now it's Faulkner for 3.
There he is. There he is, Brady. That is the Faulkner that we have wanted to see all evening long, starving for the production from Faulkner. He's now 2 of 6. his first made three-pointer of the evening. He now has 5 points.
Coming off of tying a career high with 28, joining the 1,000-point club. And now Northern Kentucky gets the steal. Brandon comes away with it. Here's Robinson out of the corner. It's short, and Pavorius gets the rebound. Here's Vincent. Now we get it to Robinson. They'll slow it down just a bit, just to penetrate. And Robinson is fouled. And boy, Chris Brandon, he showed that was a statement right there. Even though he didn't make it, it wasn't going to count because the whistle was blown dead.
3 offensive rebounds.
Continuation, but watch Brandon. He spiked that off the back iron up above the shot clock.
One word you just used to describe a guy like Chris Brandon is just raw strength. I mean, he has it both on rebounding, 4 rebounds, and then you see offensively, he can certainly add to the production as well. Already 8 points this evening.
Robinson misses the first, and Brandon was brought in as a compliment to Adrian Nelson. Basically, you got 2 of the same. You're able to have the same guy basically in 2 bodies play 40 minutes.
Yeah, and they're not 7-footers. They're about 6'8", but they have wide bodies. They certainly have built up their strength in the weight room, and you can see why the head coach for NKU, Darren Horn, trusts them so much out there on the floor. And NKU now down just 1, less than 4 to go.
Robinson splits the pair, so Eastern Michigan holds on to the 1-point lead as we're under 4 minutes to play. Here's Monty Scott. He'll pull up for 3. It's short, and the rebound goes to Robinson.
Some space. Faulkner's open in the corner. We'll see if they get it to him.
He vacates to go to the opposite corner. Now it's Robinson on the drive,
Great
but Brandon gets the offensive board and the stick back. And Northern Kentucky retakes the lead, 63-62.
We just talked about it. Double figures for Brandon, 10 points, 5 boards. The offensive rebound, huge, his 4th of the night. NKU back with the lead.
The fans are on their feet right now in the BB&T Arena as Farrakhan drives and Nate Scott sticks it back in to quiet them once again for now and retake the lead at the 3-minute mark. Langdon will walk it up. Brandon at the top of the key. He'll hand off to Faulkner. Faulkner will get it back. The alley-oop, and Brandon can't convert, but he will go to the free throw line. When we come back from our final media timeout, don't go anywhere. Eastern Michigan leads by 1 over NKU. Fans, tonight's Grain Family McDonald's player of the game is none other than Adrian Nelson. And Rich, he has been a beast tonight.
Well, Brady, for NKU, the Norse flipped the switch on in half number 2. It's been a tale of 2 halves. NKU has done it certainly in the paint, but NKU also shooting-wise has just been much better through half number 2. 54% in the second half field goal percentage-wise. They've connected 4 of 8 now from the 3-point line. And for NKU, the 2 guys down low, Nelson and Brandon, both in double figures. Faulkner and Warwick, they're just picking up the slack for them.
2:45 left to go. Chris Brandon will be at the free throw line as it's Brandon, Langdon, Pavorius, Robinson, and Faulkner, the 5 on the floor for Northern Kentucky. Just 1 starter out there for the Norse, and he back irons the first one. It's Golson, McBride, Farrakhan, Monty Scott, and Nate Scott for Eastern Michigan.
NKU with plenty more free throw attempts, 18 compared to 10 for EMU. NKU's field free throw percentage at just over the 60% mark.
So Brandon makes the second, splitting the pair, and we're tied at 64 as Vincent, with his 4 fouls, returns for Pavorius. Here's Nate Scott with it, top of the key. He'll get it to McBride. Looking for Monty Scott in the right corner, can't get it to him, so he'll swing it to the left side for Farrakhan. Goes to the elbow, misses badly, it's out of bounds. It'll stay with Eastern Michigan. That might have been off of Monty Scott, but not the way the officials saw it. So Farrakhan, with 2:23 left, triggers it in to McBride. He goes baseline, loses his balance, could have been a walk. Instead, it'll be Scott, and he knocks down a two-pointer, and Darren Horn is incredulous right now, wondering where that travel call was not.
Two 50-50 calls, of course, between the walk.
Langdon, no good. He gets the rebound after Golson tipped it to him. Way downtown, and Benson puts the crowd on its feet, and the Norse retake the lead by 1.
Brady, there's an NBA three for you. Benson, 15 points as a freshman, 4 for 5 from behind the arc. Just an incredible night for him, the Northern Kentucky native.
Well, that's that offense the fans were looking for out of him. He'd done pretty much everything else except score at a high volume, and Farrakhan with the answer. And the Eagles now lead by 1 with 1:21 left to go.
Darren Horn electing to let them play. No timeouts here to discuss the situation. NKU down just 1 minute left.
Well, he had to burn 2 timeouts in that first half as Vincent drives and nobody gets in his way.
Vincent again approaching the 20-point mark, something he was very accustomed to as a high school player, averaged over 22 per game.
And now Stan Heath will call timeout with just under a minute left to play, and his team trailing by 1. But Sam Vincent has been the story here tonight for Northern Kentucky. As we take a look at that last shot there, it's the freshman from way downtown, all the way from Fort Thomas, quite literally.
Well, we already mentioned the poise, but how about the confidence for Vincent? He just doesn't forget any misses, and fortunately for him, he hasn't missed much, over 50% from the field, but for him to be able to take a shot in that situation and to knock it down from that deep, that just shows you that Vincent is very advanced, well beyond his years as a young freshman, still a teenager.
To step in here and play as a starter immediately. A lot of folks were hoping that would be the case from Highlands, but for it to actually happen, thought maybe by mid-season, maybe by late in his freshman year it would happen, but not from day one.
Well, he's used to being the premier guy in high school, so he steps in to a perennial contender in the Horizon League. This team already 3 NCAA tournament appearances, and for a guy like Vincent, that's exactly why he came here. He expects to play in those tournaments.
And he's a guy who he was always the featured guy, but always the most unselfish guy. He would always make sure to get his teammates involved and then go look for his own offense. And right now, he's just let it come to him, just wise beyond his years as a basketball player. And Eastern Michigan looks to answer, trailing by 1. They've been in these situations a lot already in this early season, making that big comeback against Illinois State. Here's Monty Scott, no good. A battle for the board. Jai comes away with it, and Eastern Michigan will reset.
And that's pivotal to get the extra possession.
Farrakhan, in, out, and back in. And that'll be a 3-pointer to give the Eagles a 2-point lead. And an offensive foul called against Bryson Langdon. No, they called a screen against Vincent, and he will foul out. Even worse for Northern Kentucky. They lose their top scorer. It was before then. It was on the screen that freed up Langdon.
So now you're down 2. Do you extend the game here and start committing fouls to put EMU on the line, a team that has been efficient in terms of free throws, 80%, and now a timeout on the floor, and of course for Darren Horn, not happy about that occurrence, but he takes the timeout. Well,
Darren Horn is going to ask for the timeout to reset here. He wants to make sure everybody's on the same page and calm his group down. As you see Vincent, who has been disqualified due to fouls, scoring 17 points tonight. He went 4 of 5 from long range, but they'll have to go without him the rest of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a brutal situation for NKU, Brady, to lose Vincent at this point in the game. He was really a guy who carried the momentum on his back for NKU throughout the second half. Just a very tough situation, and scoring-wise, a huge reason why NKU has had a 25 percentage point spread between first half shooting at just 30%, second half shooting efficiency 55, so much better. Vincent, you have to applaud his effort no matter what here this evening.
Well, Northern Kentucky's going to have to find it somewhere else, and they'll have to do it starting on the defensive end, and they'll foul right away. And for Northern Kentucky, they kick the ball as opposed to a foul. So 33.1 left to go as Faulkner guards the inbound pass. And they throw it deep, and it's going to go out of bounds.
He's out.
And it's going to go. He tried to call a timeout. And, Rich, that's something that's been a new point of emphasis, as they don't want to have guys call timeouts and be rewarded without actually having possession of the ball. And that's exactly what Nate Scott tried to do there.
Yeah, exactly right, Brady. You saw Scott. He's just sliding on the floor, doesn't have sustained possession, and Farrakhan is very frustrated as he heads to the bench. There you see slipping, falling Scott. His foot and his knee land out of bounds before he could get the call.
Langdon with it now. He'll get it to Pavorius. He's open for a foul, and he makes him pay. QB Pavorius with ice water in his veins. Northern Kentucky with a 1-point lead, and now Eastern Michigan calls timeout with 19.3 left to go. But it's the freshman, another freshman, QB Pavorius. Boy, he wasn't open by much, but that shows the sniper in his blood.
Oh, I mean, he can bring out the dagger, and he just buries a couple of huge three-pointers. Had one for Northern Kentucky when they trailed early on in the second half, and then here late in this contest, he gives the Norse the lead once again. Pavorius filling in for his teammate, the sharpshooter 4-5, Vincent. He exits. Pavorius right there to pick up the slack.
So 8 points now for QB Pavorius, but Northern Kentucky's not out of the woods yet.
Absolutely not.
Eastern Michigan has shown all night long that it's been tough to stop them as they trail by one with 19.3. They're going to inbound it right in front of us on the side out. Just up from their bench. It'll be Monty Scott to inbound it. Jake Evans is in for defense for Northern Kentucky, along with Langdon, Pavorius, Brandon, and Faulkner. Scott will get it into McBride.
Scott or Farrakhan, they each have 21 points.
He drives, does McBride, and goes right at Brandon and finishes with 13.8. Still plenty of time for Northern Kentucky as the Norse trail by one. Here comes Langdon. They'll play through. Langdon takes it up against Jai, and he finishes with 7.9. But here come the Eagles. Farrakhan, left side. He'll pull up. It's short. The little guy gets the rebound and the game-winning shot. And Northern Kentucky finds a way to eke out a 74